Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. Good evening.
Good evening, Hare Krishna.
Mataji. So, anybody would like to do the mini kirtan for us today? Roja Mataji. I think we haven't heard you singing.
I haven't, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji, come. Let's break the ice today.
Oh.
Okay, wait. I'll just go to the next slide. Okay, from here, Mataji. Nama.
Can you lead? I follow you for a while.
Okay. Nama.
Vishnupadaya, Krishna Pastaya, Bhutale,
Yes.
Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Tinami,
Nama Om
Vishnupadaya, Krishna Pastaya, Bhutale,
Srimati Bhakti
Vedanta, Swami Tinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gauri Bhakta Vrinda.
Very nice. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu
Nityananda Sri Advaita Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Very nice, everybody. Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
One more time.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
Haribo. Wonderful. Kala Mataji, Roja Mataji, everybody, congratulations. E Mataji, Yashoda Priya Mataji. Very nice. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I'll take you around the world for a while. Take darshan of Sri London, Radha Landanishwara. Okay, they were installed in Bury Place in 1969. Okay, this is in London, UK. Near the Sri Radha Landanishwara, we have Sri Giri Govardhan, a small sacred stone. He is a small sacred stone from the original Govardhan hill in Govardhan, in Vrindavan. So he is being worshipped all around the world. Okay, this is from the holy mountain in Vrindavan, which was lifted by Lord Krishna when he was a child. All right, and then we have in the same temple Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. So take darshan. And then they also have Sri Sri Gauranitai. This is Sri Krishna and Balaram. And somebody's appearance day is coming soon. Who is that? February 14. Whose appearance day is coming? Whose incarnation? Yeah. Whose incarnation is that?
Lord Shiva.
Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram's incarnation, Lord Nityananda. Okay. Lord Shiva's incarnation is Advaita Acharya.
Advaita Acharya, yeah.
Okay, so we have the deities here. Radha Landanishwara on the right side. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra on the left side. In the middle, we have the Gauranitai. Okay, at the side here, you can see is Giri Govardhan. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vigna Vinasha Simha iti namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami niti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Gurudev. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Okay, first slide, reading slide. Yashoda Priya Mataji, because your name is the first, so I'm going to call your name. Just go to the English one, Mataji. Understanding of Gita.
You're calling me, huh?
Yes, yes.
He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me. Undiverted from the path, he, O Arjuna, is sure to reach me. This is not a very difficult process. However, one must learn it from an experienced person. Tat viyan naratam sa guram eva bi gachat. One must approach a person who is already in the practice. The mind is always flying to this and that, but one must practice concentrating the mind always on the form of Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, or on the sound of his name. The mind is naturally restless, going hither and thither, but it can rest in the sound of vibration of Krishna. One must thus meditate on Paramam Purusam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual sky, and thus attain me.
Attain him. Right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Pertanyaan. Okay, right. So in the introduction, it is mentioned that the mind is always flying to this and that, is running hither and thither, but there is a way to make it rest. It is to rest in the sound vibration of Krishna. So that is not a very difficult process. It's done by following two things. Can you tell me what are the two things? When Arjuna complained that the mind is more turbulent than the wind, Krishna answered something. What did Krishna say? With what and what that is possible? Anybody can remember?
Renunciation.
No. When Arjuna says in Dhyana Yoga chapter 6, Arjuna will say, it's so difficult to meditate. It's so difficult to control the mind. And Krishna say, yes, I understand it's difficult. But with this and this, it is possible. Krishna will say that. What is that two things?
Hearing and chanting.
No. So try. Some more.
Try to fix your mind on me.
With what, Mataji? Okay, now I have problem in fixing my mind on Krishna. So what are you going to tell me?
Or by
Just keep
vibration,
pronounce his
Krishna
name.
name.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
No, there are two terms that Krishna said in chapter 6. By this and this, it will be possible. Arjuna will complain, oh, this mind is so turbulent, Krishna, how am I going to do it? Then our Krishna will pacify him. Forgot? Oh, mighty arm, son of Kunti. Okay, this is what Arjuna will say. Oh, Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Then Krishna will say, oh no, Arjuna will say, continue, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Oh, Krishna, and to subdue it, I think is more difficult than controlling the wind. Then Lord Krishna will reply, oh, mighty arm, son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. So here Krishna is acknowledging the difficulty of controlling the mind, but it is possible by suitable dash and by dash. I'm not going to give the answer right away.
Practice and
Yes.
constantly practice.
Practice. You got one correct. One more. Practice makes perfect. So you have to remember that. One more. We are not able to control our mind because we are so attached to a lot of things. So how to counteract that?
Concentration. No.
I already give the clue. The mind is always have this, is always in this difficult position because it's very attached to a lot of things. So how to counteract the attachment? How to counteract that?
By meditation.
No.
And concentrate your mind on me.
Okay. So this is what Krishna has been explaining in Dhyana Yoga in chapter 6, the meditation, the concentration of us on Krishna, fixing our mind. But the fact here is that to do that is very difficult. It's difficult to meditate. It's difficult to fix our mind on Krishna. So Krishna will give these two solutions by practice and one more.
Practice.
Roja Mataji.
Is it surrendering?
No. I repeated this so many times. Yeah. After this, must remember, okay?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
I am going to give some more chance. It starts with D.
D.
Yeah.
Detached from.
Yes, Jai Mataji. Please say that loudly.
Detachment.
Yeah. So what are the two things?
Oh, detachment and practice.
Practice and
Correct.
detachment.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Lord Sri Krishna said, oh, mighty arm, son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Please write it down. So whenever you are in a situation that you are not able to do something, this is what you're going to tell you. I'm going to make it possible by constant practice and detachment. This is how we have to tell us, okay? Because Arjuna has said it and Krishna acknowledged it. Not only that, there was a problem statement and Krishna has given the solution. So it's up to us, how are we going to remember it and practice it, okay? So one must, thus that way we must meditate on the Paramam Purusha, okay? Eventually we will attain him. Okay, so how many sections are there in Bhagavad Gita?
You mean chapter?
The whole Bhagavad Gita got how many sections?
How many section? Ayo, forgot.
Yes. Remember the burger?
5.
No.
Many, I know.
No.
3,
No,
3. Yes. What are those?
body, relationship, and bhakti.
Oh, yeah.
No, Mati.
Oh.
So the whole Bhagavad Gita is about bhakti. It's all about different ways of achieving bhakti. So somebody has mentioned it correctly. There are 3 ways of attaining bhakti.
Yeah.
So the first section is from chapter what to what?
Chapter 1 to 7.
Chapter 1 to 6. Bhagavad Gita got 18 chapters, right? So you divide 6. Okay, write it down. Got notebook, right? So write it down. 1 to 6.
I read twice. You see, I forgot already.
So this is why I keep saying is this, because one day you're going to talk about Bhagavad Gita to somebody. So generally there are a lot of things people think about on Bhagavad Gita. Oh, this is a religious book. You know, it has, I don't know what people think about Bhagavad Gita. So many people think so many things. It's a philosophy book. It's a, you know, it could be so many ways. So when you want to start talking about Bhagavad Gita, you can talk about the 5 topics. These are all you're expert already, right? The 5 topics. And then, or you can start by saying, oh, this Bhagavad Gita is it's about bhakti. There are 3 ways of attaining bhakti. So what is that first way? Through doing what? What chapter can you remember from the first?
By working.
Correct. Working. What is work in
Working.
Sanskrit?
Through work, then
Karma. Okay, we learn about karma yoga here.
mm,
Okay, so the second
through
section-
knowledge. Yeah.
Yes. So second section is all about bhakti. Okay. Third section is all about knowledge. So there are many ways you can achieve bhakti.
See. Oh my
Okay.
God.
All right. So we are now at which section? We started last week, 2 weeks back. Chapter 13. So what section is that?
You mean
Knowledge. Knowledge.
Yes. So we are at Jnana Yoga section. Karma Yoga finish, Bhakti Yoga finish, Jnana Yoga. So there are people who wants to understand Krishna, understand the super soul through knowledge. Okay. Earlier we understood the super soul through Karma Yoga. After that we understood super soul through Bhakti Yoga. Now we are going to understand. We are understanding, or we are trying to understand the super soul through Jnana Yoga. So please remember all this. Okay. So what is the purpose we are doing this? With the knowledge, we are trying to detach ourselves from Maya. Maya means illusion, something that is temporary. Okay. And then when you detach something, you need to attach to something else. So we are detaching from Maya and we are attaching to
Krishna.
Very good. Attachment to Krishna.
Hmm.
So basically, we are using this knowledge to attain devotion. Okay, clear? All right.
Last
Okay,
knowledge.
so this recap slide will come in every chapter until we finish. So it's for you to understand why are we here in this section. Okay. Okay, so we are in part 2. So what is it about? One who understands the difference between body, soul, and super soul. So there are 3 elements here: body, soul, and super soul. Beyond them, both attains liberation from this material world. So the ultimatum of this chapter 13 is by understanding the difference and the interaction between body, soul, and super soul, you will attain liberation from this material world. All right. Okay, so this is the objective of the chapter. So ultimately, we want to know what we have learned from this chapter. Okay, All right, so yes, take note. There'll be some Q&A because some terms will be repeated. So I want you all to remember as much as you can. So this is the first question. This is the first verse in chapter 13. Arjuna will start by asking question. Does anybody remember what are the questions that Arjuna asked? Whoever did revision before the class? Oh, you can remember? Because we did this like quick ago.
About the Prakti, the nature, the Purusha, the controller,
The
and
enjoyer.
the enjoyer. The third is the ayo.
Okay, let me stop Yashoda Priya Mataji there. Mataji has given nature and enjoyer, Prakruti and Purusha. Okay, can somebody tell me the next two? Roja Mataji.
The field and the knower of the field.
Very good. Okay, Mataji. So we have Prakruti, the nature, Purusha, the enjoyer. We have the field and we have the knower of the field. What is the last two, Kala Mataji?
Knowledge and object of knowledge.
Very good. Very happy. Okay, so let's reverse a little bit to the knower of the field. How many knowers are there? Let me call. Guna Mataji. How many knowers are there?
2.
Very good. Can you name?
One who knows this body.
Okay.
Knower of all body.
All right. Who is this knower of this body and who is the knower of all bodies? Who is that? Who is the knower of this body? Guna Mataji. Okay, maybe I'll go to the next person. Sharmila Mataji. Oh, Sharmila Mataji, did you recap? I know you didn't come last week, but did you happen to look at it?
Soul, super soul, is it, Mataji?
Yes. So the knower of this body is?
Knower of this body would be soul.
Yes, us. Okay, we are Jiva. Who is the knower of all the bodies?
Super soul.
Very good. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Yashoda Priya Mataji, what is the two examples that we learned last 2 weeks ago? What is the example that we gave? There were two examples, right?
Example.
Yeah, example. Okay, I'll give you one and you tell me the other one. One example was the landlord. We only know what's happening in our house. The landlord will know what's happening in all his houses. What is the next example? A farmer only knows what's happening on his field. And who knows what's happening in all the land?
King, is it?
Very good. Yes, King Mataji. Okay, very quick recap. Very nice. Okay. Oh, my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakruti, the nature, Purusha, the enjoyer. Okay, just I sidetrack a bit just now. Yashoda Priya Mataji mentioned about controller. So controller will be Ishvara, who means enjoyer. The field and the knower of the field, we have two. Sorry, my internet connection is unstable. Okay, so the field, the knower of the field got two, soul and super soul, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge. What is knowledge? What is knowledge?
Our 5 acquiring senses mean knowledge.
No. What is knowledge?
Transcendental, you mean spiritual knowledge or transcendental knowledge?
Knowledge is about interaction or relationship between something and something, right?
Oh.
Roja Mataji, I'm relying on you.
Knowledge is approaching a spiritual master and accepting
I know.
self-realization.
Must realize conception of.
No, that is process.
Mataji,
Knowledge
constant
acquiring
and
senses,
unalloyed
Mataji.
devotion to me.
It's the answer is in text 3. Who can tell me? Explain in your words.
constant and unalloyed devotion to me.
Okay, that is process.
Just now I read.
But remember this answer that you're giving because it will be useful for our recap later. So that is process. This unalloyed devotion and getting a spiritual master, this is process. Okay, so now we are at the knowledge. What is knowledge? Question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Knowledge.
Chapter
Is it the 20
13, text 3. Okay, the 20 catalyst is process. Very nice. So
I mean knowledge of the
yes,
field activity.
you can remember these terms.
Cannot remember. I read
I
twice
only,
already.
yes,
Mataji,
you
is
answered.
this the one to understand this body and its knower? It's called the knowledge.
Yes, the relationship between the body and the knower is the knowledge.
Oh.
Okay, all right, it's in the
Please
answer is in
repeat
text
again.
3.
Please repeat again.
Again.
Please, Mataji, please repeat just now what you said.
Jai Mataji.
Repeat again.
Oh, just to read. I also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower, it's called knowledge.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay. Thank you, Jai Mataji. All right. So the object of knowledge now. Object of knowledge.
our senses, no?
No. What is the object of our knowledge? Why are we learning all this? What is the ultimate object of this knowledge?
Means knowledge, knowledge acquiring senses. Acquiring.
No.
To reach Krishna.
Lord Krishna. He is the object of knowledge. Anybody can tell me from where? Text 18. Somebody can read for us, please. You see, I have this book, I did it myself. Okay, what I do is I collect only the verse translation. So when I look at it like this, I know very fast. I don't have to flip the big Bhagavad Gita because it's useful for me as a reference. So if you all want, I can share the PDF and you can just print it. So yeah, that's how I get the verses very fast. Okay, so somebody can read for us. Chapter 3, text 18.
It's the source of. Okay, go ahead, Chandra Mataji.
It's okay. You can continue, Mataji. No worries.
Text 18, right?
Yeah.
He is the source of a light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge. He is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart.
So when you say, okay, you see in that line, he is the object of knowledge. So we already got our answer. Okay. And look at the last line. He is situated in everyone's heart. What is he? What are we referring to actually here?
Super soul.
Very good. What is it in Sanskrit?
Paramatma.
Very good. Okay. So we are done with a little bit of recap from last week. Otherwise, because it's a continuation, right? So we need to know. Right. So the last 4 questions, Krishna answered 2 weeks back. He answered these questions first. All right. Feel, knower. Everybody know what is feel? What is feel?
Body.
Yes, body. Yeah. Knower got 2, soul and super soul. Knowledge is understanding the interaction between the body and the
The soul.
What is the knowledge?
Senses.
It means
Just now only we did. What is knowledge?
means interaction of the body and soul. No.
Is it object of knowledge?
Mataji, I want to cry.
Sorry, Rina. What is knowledge?
Knowledge. Apa tu knowledge?
Relationship.
Everybody got Bhagavad Gita or not? Open your text now. Cepat, open.
Open what number? And knowledge.
Text 3. Yo, just now Mataji read for us. Please don't waste her energy.
To understand this body and knower.
Text 3.
Yes, is called knowledge. Okay, I have to remember it's very important philosophy. This one is very important. I know it's technical, but it's important. Okay, we can follow this. Okay, don't worry, we can follow this. Feel, we know body. Knower got two. Okay, soul and super soul. Soul only knows body, our body only. Super soul knows everybody's body. All right, and then we have knowledge. Knowledge means understanding the body and the understand this body and its knower. That is called knowledge. And then object of knowledge, which is the super soul.
Oh, understanding the body and the knower. Ah, yeah.
Correct. So knower got two. So like this, branch. Okay. Now we are going to do Prakruti and Purusha. Now only we are entering today's topic. Okay, but it's important, right? It's important to understand. Okay. I think I will not go through all the verses. Whatever I feel that you all need, that I will give. But in the PDF, you all can read. Okay. Okay, if anybody is more inclined towards this Jnana Yoga, then you can read on. All right. So that's part 2 today. Okay, I won't go through all this.
Body and soul also.
So a part of a trailer of this chapter is already given in chapter 2. Now Krishna is expanding. So if you look at it carefully, chapter 2 has everything. That is why it is called contents of Gita summarized. So Krishna expands this in Jnana Yoga section. Okay, so we are starting with today's verse. Prakruti and Purusha are beginningless. Okay, can we have somebody to read? Jai Mataji?
Go instead.
Am I?
Oh yeah, okay, go ahead.
Mataji, can I just try to read the one?
The Sanskrit?
Yeah, just one.
Yes, please. Nice.
Raktrim Purusham Chaiva Vidinanti Ubapavi Vikaramscha Gunam Chaiva Vidhi Prakti Sambhavan. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformation and the modes of matter are products of material nature.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Mataji. So we have two knowers, right? Paramatma, which is Lord Krishna, and Jiva, which is the living entity. Okay, so before this, Lord Krishna has already described about Paramatma, who is a knower of the field, knower of all fields. Now describe about Jiva, who is also knower of the field. Okay, Krishna has described in detail about super soul previously in the part. Now he's going to talk about Jiva, the activity, the job, and right. Nature of material nature, and we need to understand they are beginningless. They are transformed, but they transform. It's because of the modes of matter. Okay. So try to
Mataji,
pay attention.
there's a
Yes. Lagging, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Is that all right now? Can you hear me? Did you lose me anywhere?
Yeah,
Should I
the
repeat?
previous slides we lost.
Okay. Okay. So earlier, Krishna already explained in detail about super soul. Okay, in part 1. Now Krishna is going to talk about the Jiva, how the Jiva is entangled in this material world. So to explain that, how that happened, and the nature has to be brought in. So that is why Krishna has kept this towards the second part of the chapter. So this is where Krishna is going to give details how these living entities interact with the material nature and why they are here. Okay. So we have to understand that both are beginningless. Both are beginningless. This is a similarity. Chuma, the way they transform is different. Okay, because material nature is temporary while the living entity is not temporary, they are eternal, because the spirit soul is coming from the super soul. Okay, we will go on. Okay, so try to pay attention to what I'm going to explain. Okay, so this picture is to show you that listen carefully. Okay, so what I'm going to tell now is a very brief one, but it's very important. Okay, I'm going to tell about the mystery of material creation and the Purusha. Purusha means enjoyer, and this is the material nature. Okay, so before creation and we have during creation. Always we want to know where the creation started. When the creation started, what was there in the beginning? All right. So before the creation, before creation starts, okay, before Lord Brahma starts the creation, before Krishna expands, before Mahavishnu enters the releases his paws, releases in universes from his paw. So what happened is that the material nature and living entities were absorbed in the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu, the Garbhodakasaya Vishnu. Okay, he is the Purusha avatar. All right, so before creation, remember, the material nature and the living entities were absorbed in the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu. That means they are inside his body. Okay, it's part of his body, part of him. During creation, material nature is manifested. Okay, they come out, they are created, and living entities enter into that material nature. They are again given a chance to act in the material world, to prepare themselves to enter into the spiritual world, because we came from spiritual world. Okay, due to our interactions and karmic reactions, we fell into the material world. At the time of annihilation, we enter the body of
Vishnu.
Yes, Mahavishnu. At the time of creation, we come out again. We are given a second chance to act in this material world and prepare ourselves to enter the spiritual world. So this is the entire process. So those who are successful, they will go back to the spiritual world. Those who are not so successful, they will go to higher planets. And when they have exhausted their pious credits, they come back to the material world. If they were unfortunate, they will fall to animal kingdom. And then like this, hither and up and down, up and down, up and down, until we take up unalloyed devotional service under the guidance of spiritual master.
Sorry, Mataji.
After
Yes,
that,
Mataji, sorry to interrupt. You see, once they go to spiritual life, right, spiritual world, they can fall back also.
Yes, because we have a free will. We can choose what we want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but once you have hurt your finger in the burning fire, would we want to touch it again? We try not to. So there is always a very little free will that Krishna has given us. Otherwise, it will be like Krishna forcing us, right? So we have a free will, we can choose. So there are certain circumstances where we can fall down. One of it is being envious of the Lord. So this may happen. Okay, so the moment we think, oh, I also want to be master, we come down. Krishna will say, okay, you can be a master in the material world. All right. So this is another big topic. Okay, but to answer correctly, to answer in short, yes, there is a tendency of us coming down because we have free will. Krishna has given us free will. Even now we have free will. We can always choose what we want to do, where we want to go. We want to stay in the material planet or we want to go back to spiritual world. Okay, so I have explained the mystery of material creation. So remember, where we came from, we got absorbed. During creation, what happens? And then where are we supposed to go after that? Now, let's talk about Purusha. The Supreme Lord is the Purusha. So I already explained earlier. So he is, what do we mean by Purusha? He is the master, he's the controller, he's the enjoyer, he's the proprietor, he's the maintainer of this entire cosmos. Okay, in short, he is the Supreme Lord. Okay, now when the energy of the Supreme Lord is us, we are the energy of the Lord. Okay, we are only energy of the Lord, and we are not the master, we are not the controller. But just like the knower got two, right? Soul and super soul. Purusha is also like that. Because we have the mentality of being a master, being a controller. Okay, we also want to lord over things. We are also called Purusha because of that. So there is Jiva Purusha, and there is the actual Purusha, which is a Supreme Lord. So thus the term Purusha is used to refer to both Supreme Lord and living entity. So have you all heard very carefully? Please write it down, try to remember. Okay, this is how the creation starts, but where is our position? What is our position? And who is the actual controller? We are thinking we are the controller, we are the enjoy. Everything we want to enjoy, we feel like everything is given to us to enjoy. Okay, so the actual enjoyer is the Supreme Lord. Okay, so we move on. So this is Lord Krishna. From Lord Krishna comes the material nature with the external energy. We are talking about Krishna's various energy. Krishna has so many energies, but we are going to just talk about a couple of energies. Material nature is Krishna's energy, and this is a super soul of Krishna's spiritual energy. Okay, and where are we? We are in the middle. Why we are in the middle and we are called marginal energy? Because we have a choice where we want to fall. We want to remain here in the material nature, or we want to move to Krishna. Okay, so we are like this pendulum. Left, right, sekejap in material nature, sekejap spiritual. Then sekejap go here, sekejap go there. So we are marginal. Okay, we are pure spirit soul, but we are contaminated by this material energy. So that's why we are here. Okay, so we have a choice to make. Like I said, we have a free will. Okay, so the living entity, we have a choice to go towards material energy or super soul. Like, okay, left, right, left, right, left, right. So we have a choice. Okay, where do we want to go? Okay, so always remember, we always have a choice. Okay, understand? Okay, okay. 13.21. Okay, so we are moving into how the material nature becomes the cause and effect in the material world. Cause and effect. Whatever is happening in this world is a result of cause and effect activity in the material nature. Okay, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's dry. Okay, sometimes it's hot. Okay, all these are interactions. Okay, so let's have somebody to read this first. Kala Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyment in this world.
Okay, so nature is the cause by itself to all the various things that we experience in the nature. Nature itself is the cause. Nature itself is the effect. Okay, nature is the cause and effect. So this one straightforward, right? Okay, nobody can blame why it's like this, why the nature is like that, because that is the nature. Okay, it's perfectly planned that way. Only human go and disrupt it. And then look at the Jiva. The Jiva is the cause of the enjoyment. He is the cause of the suffering. How? Through our own activities. We are the one who create our path. We do like this, either we enjoy or we suffer. It's all in our hand. Okay, so using our senses, look at this picture on the left. So using these senses, these are the instruments to gratify our desires. All right, these are how we fulfill our desires. So by utilizing this, we are deciding whether we are enjoying the activity or we are suffering through that activity. Okay, so we experience the enjoyment or sufferances. Okay, so this is the explanation of this loka. Okay, I don't know why my internet connection is often unstable today. It's not even raining. Okay, so it is more clear to state that this body is the effect of the senses. Because of the senses, the body is undergoing various enjoyments. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so we need to know where is our role here. All right, this is role of Prakruti and Jiva. Okay, so this prayer, all right, the prayer of the fetus in the womb. Anybody has heard this? In Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that every fetus in the womb will have a prayer, will do a prayer. It's called Jantu prayer. Okay, it will pray that because one of the life suffering is birth, so the baby will pray that I don't want to forget you, oh Lord. All right, but the moment it comes out, it forgets everything. Okay, so there is this extract from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a pretty long read, but it'll be nice if somebody can read for us. Anybody would like to volunteer?
Me.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. So, beaten again and again all over the body by the hungry worms in the abdomen itself, the child suffers terrible agony because of his tenderness. He thus becomes unconscious moment after moment because of the terrible condition. The child thus remains just like a bird in a cage without freedom of movement. At that time, if the child is fortunate, he can remember all the troubles of his past 100 births and he grieves wretchedly. What is the possibility of peace of mind in that condition? The human soul says, I take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in his various eternal forms and walks on the surface of the world. I take shelter of him only because he can give me relief from all fear, and from him I've received this condition of life, which is just befitting my impious activities.
Okay, yes, thank you, Mataji. So it is mentioned that a newborn baby can remember up to its past 100 births. All right, so nobody would like to come back to this material world if they remember what they have gone through in the past. So that is why the prayer of Jantu explains that all the suffering a fetus has gone through in the past births, making him refusing to take birth again. Okay, but once it comes out, he was put into forgetfulness, and again he is entangled in this material nature, in this vicious cycle of birth and death. All right, so why we are coming back again and again is because of our activities in the past. All right, so we are receiving this condition of life which is just befitting my impious activity, like it's mentioned here. Okay, so to sidetrack a bit, Bhagavatam also recommends that, Bhagavatam gives a chronology of event, how from the beginning, on the first night when the sperm and ovum mix, and what happens on the fifth night. So it goes on in the course of 1 month and the fourth month. So like this, on monthly basis, you have the explanation there. So there are times where the fetus would not have developed skin. So whatever spicy things that the mother eats, it will impact the baby's skin. So from Bhagavatam, it's recommended for pregnant ladies to read Bhagavatam to understand how the fetus grows and to act accordingly, to not to harm the child in the womb. So these are additional information that you can get from Bhagavatam. Okay, Canto 3, chapter 31. Okay, that's just a little additional information. Okay. Okay, this is about transmigration. Okay, let's have somebody to read. Anyone? Jai Prabhu, are you there? I'm just seeing you. Okay, anybody else? Anyone else? Let's have a yes.
Transmigration of the living entity, desire to enjoy by Purusha. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species.
Okay, so this may not be an entire entirely new information that you are seeing now. You would have seen it in chapter 2, you would have seen it in chapter 5, chapter 5, all the transmigration information, right? Like I say, Krishna brings all this information in detail in Jnana Yoga section. So Krishna says here, the living entity enjoys, based on his enjoyment of the three modes, okay, due to his association with his material nature, he takes up a particular type of body. Okay, so when a living entity have a human body, so you have to remember that animals do not have karma, so they just basically put on an autopilot mode, so they will evolve, they go through evolution, okay, automatically. Okay, but human being, given that additional knowledge, ability, okay, when they act in a certain way, okay, based on his activities and reaction, he will be placed in particular type of species of life. Okay, if he has done a very abominable activity in his life, then he is placed in lower species of life, like bird, yeah, like bird, snake, fish, beasts, insects, plants. Okay, all right, so whatever way he associate with the material nature, then he will be given the body suitable with his activities. Okay, seems like he is so desiring, he has so much of desire to enjoy this set of senses, then he will be given a body particularly to enjoy the world through that certain senses. Okay, so based on this, he may go up and down, or you can go to animal bodies. Okay, all this matching with his activity that he has done in his life. All right, so remember, human beings get reactions to his actions, but while birds, animals, plants, they don't. Okay, so if a human being eat animal flesh, he gets karma. But if dog, lion, tiger, they eat animal flesh, they don't get karma. Okay, so that is the understanding. All right, so how next life is determined is based on our activity, as I already mentioned. Okay, those who are obsessed with certain activities, then they will be given a body that is suitable for him. Okay, whatever he has desired. So one who is obsessed with swimming probably will get a body of a fish. A person who is obsessed with oversleeping, then probably he'll get a body of a bear. Then they can hibernate for a very long time. Okay. So this picture is from Bhagavad Gita. Here we have a person, he's a butcher, all right? He's I think, you know, in slaughter industry, right? They slaughter animals. In the next birth, he has gotten the birth of tiger. So it's very easy. He's given the suitable weapons, his sharp nails and, you know, sharp teeth for him to like God said, okay, you don't need knife now. We have your natural weapons, so you can go and hunt and eat, like that. Okay, and here this picture is about a lady who's it looks like, you know, that what they call, what, magazines. So this is nude magazine, I would if you put it crudely, right? So the picture here on the right side, it shows tree. So tree no need to dress up, right? And can they stay under the hot sun and rain for a long time? It would be 100 years. So you know how torture is that, because they want to expose their body, right? So this is the birth that they get. The third one here, this person is seems to be eating anything and everything. All right, so he's given the next birth, he's given the body of a pig. So pig eats anything and everything. So this is the facility that is given to him. Okay, this one is this person sleeping. It must be oversleeping, too much sleeping. So given the body of bear. So the bear sleep for very long during the winter. Okay, so living entity is forced to behave according to the body given by the material nature. So we can't say, oh no, I'm in the body of a dog. I'm not going to eat bones. I'm not going to eat flesh. I'm not going to sleep on the roadside. No, automatically you will be forced to act according to that body that you have. If you have to talk, then you have to bark. All right, so you have to bark, you have to wag the tail and eat particular food, etc., like that. So if if the life has been the whole life the person has been very dirty, eating anything and everything, sleeps with everyone and anyone, sleeps a lot, then you have to get the body of a hog. Okay, hog, pig. Okay, so when you put into the body of a hog, then you behave like a hog. You eat stool, you eat rubbish, you eat dirt, you meddle with the mud. Okay, so you are forced to act in that body, so you cannot escape, right? At that time the living entity will not have the power to change the law. The only time that we have the power to change the law is when we are in which body?
Human
Are
body.
you all? Yeah, so is it precious that we can change our life, change the law in this body? Because the moment we slip and fall into the lower animal, the lower species of life, it's difficult. You're going to be put on an autopilot mode. You have to follow the evolution. So it's don't know how many more births we're going to come and take this human birth again. So this is how it's so precious. Okay, so when we are put into this kind of body, then we become under the control of nature. So this is the nature, Prakruti. This is what we are learning, okay, Prakruti. Okay, we will act according to the laws of nature. We cannot break it, we cannot change it. Okay, all right, so this is the law of nature. All right, this is the fact. At that time, the living entity has no power to change that law. Okay, so there is this story of Lord Indra. So Lord Indra, as you all know, is the king of Lord
Heaven.
Indra is, yes, he's the king of heaven. It's a position. Okay, if you have qualified by doing certain things, then you can attain the position of Lord Indra. Even Lord Brahma is also the same thing. Okay, sun god also the same. So they have different names, and this is the position, King Indra. So King Indra was a little puffed up, a little arrogant, because he has lots of opulence, beautiful ladies around him. He enjoys too much, and one time he offended his guru Brihaspati. So Brihaspati thought, I need to teach him a lesson. Brihaspati is the spiritual master of the Devas. Okay, so he offended the spiritual master. So Brihaspati thought, I should give him a lesson. So what did he? Brihaspati cursed Lord Indra to be born as a pig. Okay, so when Lord Indra was born as a pig, he totally put in forgetfulness. He doesn't remember that he was king of heaven. Okay, so when the punishment term was over, the guru came, say, okay, Indra, your punishment term is over, let's go back. But guess what? Lord Indra didn't want to come back. He said, I'm happy here. I have a wife. I have children. We have plenty of food everywhere. I don't want to come. Life is so happy. I don't want to leave. He will say that. Okay. So because he's already in that body of a pig and the facilities around me keeps him happy, then he's happy. But he doesn't have that. He doesn't remember that he was a king. Right, so this is how the nature puts you forcefully into that situation and makes you enjoy it. All right, so it's a very sad state, right? Okay, so that's then the story ended in a way that Brihaspati had to kill the pig so that he is born again. He is brought back to the heavenly planets. Okay, so like this is what Lord Krishna is saying. Can we have somebody to read? Who has not read yet? Sharmila Mataji?
Okay, correct. Lord Krishna is personally canvassing. Give up everything in this material world. Come to me and I shall give you all protection. But we are not agreeable. We think we are quite all right. Why should we surrender unto Krishna and go back to his kingdom? This is called illusion or Maya. Everyone is satisfied with his standard of living, however abominable it may be.
Yeah, abominable it may be. Yeah, so we thinking we are happy. I'm all right. I have everything, good car, huge house, wonderful family, wonderful children, wonderful husband, wonderful wife, great career. I'm fine. So we are this way. We are trapped here. Okay. Okay. Right. So here, Krishna is establishing the relationship between living entities and super soul. What is the difference, similarities and differences? Okay. And generally people will think there is only one soul in the body. Okay. So frankly, if you have not come to chapter 13, you wouldn't know there are two souls. Is it? Before, okay, I just want to ask, before you have started learning Bhagavad Gita, have you all heard that there are two souls in the body?
No,
No.
didn't know.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So this is the knowledge that Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad Gita. So there are two souls, one soul. All right. We are one soul, and the one who's always overseeing us is the super soul. Okay. Otherwise, why, Mataji, when we say Vanakam, right? When we were small, we were taught Vanakam, right? So what is the meaning of Vanakam? Who can share? What's the meaning of Vanakam? Jay Mataji in Tamil. Unakul?
உனக்குள் இருக்கும் கடவுளை நான் பிரார்த்திக்கிறேன். Something like that, right?
Yes. So that is super soul, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we know this thing in our life. We have not really realized it. So now we are realizing it. Krishna is saying, yes, there is soul, there is super soul, that is Paramatma. Okay. All right. So can we have somebody to read this English? Please volunteer quickly.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, Kalamate. I just wanted to call you.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseas and permitter, and who is known as the super soul.
Right. Okay. So we can understand from this verse. So please take down this verse. Very important. 13.23. We can understand from this verse. There is not only one soul. There are two souls in each living entity. Okay. So this is the relationship between living entities and super soul. Okay. My internet is unstable. All right. Okay. So now Krishna is answering question 1 and 2. Okay, Prakruti and living entities. Okay, so he already answered this. He is the transcendental enjoyer. He is the supreme proprietor. He is the overseer. He is the permitter. And he is known as super soul. Okay, very important. All right. If the world, this material world is so nasty, then why did we come here in the first place? Why did Krishna permit us to come to this material world of suffering? Like Roja Mataji asked, if you go to the spiritual world, will we come back? Yes. Why will we come back? Because we are like this. The living entities are like rebellious son who left his rich father. Okay, you want to just like this young boy who would not listen to his father. I'm going to go on my own. I want to be independent. I don't want to be dependent on you. Okay. Finally, when he's out there on his own, he loses everything. He sleeps on the street. He suffers. All right. The boy should know that the father is a very rich man. He can go back to his father anytime, but he doesn't want to. Okay. He can go back home anytime. And he must be assured that the father will receive him and take care of him anytime. Okay, so on that relation, we have a story from Bible. It's called Prodigal Son. It's a very simple, very short story, and we have a lesson learned at the end of it, which will be shared by Sharmila Mataji. Mataji, on stage.
Okay, all right. So actually this the story is based on two people. So there's a son of a very rich man, right? He left his father, and eventually because he left his father, he became a beggar because he cannot feed himself and cannot take care of himself. And then actually he can go back to his dad, but he felt bad, I already come out myself, so I'm just going to go and try to live on my own. So he comes to a village, and then he doesn't have a food, and then he doesn't have like any job or things like that. And so he asked, someone came to him and then gave him some food. and say like, why don't you take care of my pigs and then be here? So now he makes living for himself. He takes care of the pigs, but then like he's very untaken care of. He looks very terrible, hair not cut, and then no one can actually recognize this person like how he used to be as a son of a millionaire, right? He used to be like very well taken care of, always cut his hair, trim his hair well, and those kind of things. So now he's very like, after being a beggar, right? So you guys can imagine how he would look like. So one day someone in the village actually recognized him as being the son of the millionaire, and then the person approached him. So the person asked him, why are you suffering like this, right? Why don't you go back to your father? And so like the father somehow comes to know of the existence of the son, and then he saw the son in that condition. He just like go to the son, pulls him and hugs him, and then bring him to his house, like call a barber to cut his hair, trim, like, you know, take care of him, and also gave him feast. So in this situation, right, like the application in real life is that we are the sons of the Lord, right, Krishna. So we are stranded away, we came very far away from him, but he's always there, like for us to go back to him. So the ideology here is Lord is always waiting for us for when we will return back to him, because that is our origins. So conclusion is he's always ready to accept us, but whether we want to surrender and reach out to him. Yeah, that's a little story from my end.
Right, wonderful. Thank you, Mataji. So the concept is that we are like the son who has left a very rich father. Okay, so when we went back, the father can recognize us. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada has built many temples for us to go and get ourselves connected to the Lord. Okay, just a second. Okay, so we are like Shamila Mataji said, we are all children of God. So we have forgotten him and got drifted, right? And so we are like the sons, we have gone away from the father. Okay, so we have these temples. So for us, the Prabhupada built these temples to bring us back to the father. Okay, so that is the understanding. Okay, I'm going to skip this story of Gopakumar. It's a very beautiful story, but we don't have time. Maybe I can tell next week. Okay, so basically the Supreme Lord is patiently waiting for the living entity to turn to him. Okay, so the Lord, he is so kind that he accompanies us in all the bodies that we are in, a abominable type of body, or whether we are in the body like a deva or a human being. So he accompanies us. He's always following. That is why Krishna is called as our eternal best friend. So he's taking note of whatever we are doing. He's overseeing us, and he's also permitting us because we have a free will. All right. The day we need to go back, then he will allow us to go back. Okay. With the mercy of spiritual teachers, guru and devotees, we are able to awaken the dormant love that we have for Krishna in our heart and eventually surrender to the Lord. Okay. So this is the creation, entire creation, the spiritual planets of Vaikuntha. You see here, this is lotus flower, and we have all these little pictures of bubbles of Krishna, Vishnu. This is all, this represent spiritual world. And you have see this dark color here. This is the material world, the material coming out from Lord Vishnu's body. So you can see this material world is just 1/4 quarter, suku of the entire creation. So there are much more living entities in the spiritual world. Like I said previously, I don't know, in my level 2 or level 3, I can't recall. That's just like you have this a country, okay, let's say Malaysia, right? And we have couple of prisons here and there. Okay, so similarly, the whole Malaysia is like a spiritual world, and there's prison here and there to to house prisoners to repent and make their way out, and they do not recommit the mistakes that they have done to have caused them to come into the prison. So this is the prison of material world, the prison of the creation. So we are here to repent, and then we can find our way back to Godhead. Okay, the Supreme Lord is waiting for the living entities in the material world to come back to Godhead. All right, so material world is just a small part. Right? Other planets are Vaikuntha planets. Vaikuntha means, what does Vaikuntha means? Place where there is no, I said this meaning before, the meaning of Vaikuntha, the place where there is no anxiety. Okay, material world is the place of anxiety. Okay, so can we have somebody to read this? Guna Mataji. No. Who else there? Anybody?
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, can Mataji.
One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees.
Okay, so this is also from chapter 12, right? The soul does not die. All right, at the time of death, at the time of destruction of the body, the soul leaves the body. All right, and the super soul accompanies the soul. So along with the soul, the subtle body also comes. Anybody remember what is the subtle body? 3 elements in the subtle body. Anybody wrote down notes last week?
My intelligence and ego.
Yes, very good, Mataji. So happy. Yes, soul is covered by these 3 subtle body elements, and then they will be impression that we have created in this life to the next body. So super soul also will follow. Okay. All right. So a true seer will see that the soul and super soul do not die. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to explain the difference between the soul and super soul. Okay, it's unstable again. Okay, so we have qualities that are very much similar to Krishna. Okay, but we are different in terms of quantity. So this is called Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. Beda means bezer. All right, so we are berbeza with the Lord and we are not berbeza with the Lord. So how sejauh, like you have question, right? Sejauh mana kita berbeza dari Supreme Lord? Something like that, right? So you can tell, yeah, actually same with the Supreme Lord, but we are not same. Okay. So the comparison, you are going to use two analogy, or we use 2 examples. Like we are a drop of water, and then there is a big, huge ocean. We are also water, that is also water. But we are one drop of water, and Krishna is the entire ocean. So that is the difference. Quality-wise, we are same. Quantity-wise, we are different. Okay. So the next example, analogy is gold. Krishna is like a gold mine, the reservoir of gold. But we are a tiny gold ring. Gold and gold same, but quantity-wise, we are different. All right. So this is the philosophy, Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, inconceivable oneness and difference. We are one with the Lord. So this is where people misinterpret, misunderstand, speculate that I also can become God. I become one with God. No. Just like you have a green tree, you have one parrot, green parrot going and sitting on the branch in the green tree, that it cannot claim that I have become one with the tree. Parrot is the parrot, tree is the tree. Okay, you may converge with the Lord in the spiritual world, but we will always remain as a separate living entity. We cannot become one with the Lord. All right. So we may have certain knowledge to an extent, wealth to an extent, strength to an extent. Oh, I have the Lord's quality. Yes, we may have, but not in the quantity that the Lord has. Okay, so this is where we cannot say that we cannot become one with the Lord. We cannot merge with God. We cannot do that. All right. We always maintain our individualness. The soul is qualitatively same as the supreme soul, the super soul, but it is quantitatively different, like a drop of the ocean and the ocean. So we have covered this, right? So these are the similarities. We are both unborn. We are both eternal. We are both spiritual beings. So this is very clear, right? The soul, the nature of the soul is same. Okay, unborn, cannot be destroyed. Spiritual being, eternal. We have differences. The difference is the soul is controlled by Maya. The super soul is the controller of the Maya. Okay, the super soul has legs and hands everywhere. He knows everything, but we do not have legs and hands everywhere. We only know of ourselves. He is the maintainer. We are the sustained. Okay, he maintains us. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, so just like the sky, because of its subtle nature, it looks like it pervades everything, but it does not get mixed with anything. So like that, the soul in our body, it may have the symptom. What is the symptom of soul? It starts with C. What is the evidence the soul is present in a body?
Consciousness.
Very good. Okay, so that is the symptom of a soul. So when the soul is in the body has consciousness, but the soul does not become the body. Okay, when the body is not fit to live, the soul leaves the body. Okay, all right. So similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. So there's always a difference. Okay, matter and spirit do not mix. So another way to look at it is how the sun illuminates the entire universe. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Okay, so this is how the soul illuminates the entire body. This is a symptom of soul, consciousness. Okay, consciousness is not a product of combination of matter, yeah. Consciousness is a symptom of the soul. Okay. The consciousness of one particular body does not share that of another body. Remember the knower concept? We only know what's happening in our body. We do not know what's happening in another's body. But the super soul, which is situated in all bodies, is conscious of all bodies. Okay, so that is the difference between us as a knower and Krishna as the knower, supreme knower. Can we have somebody to read this? We are at the end of the chapter now. This is the conclusion. Kalama. Okay. Who is that? Charmila Mataji. Yes.
Okay. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal.
All right. So this is the conclusion. Everything is inside this verse. Okay, so what was the first topic? Body versus soul. Okay, and all the entire chapter has to be understood with the guidance of a spiritual master. Okay, I'm going to run a little very fast recap. Okay, so we have done this. We must understand the distinction between body and soul. Okay, so earlier for some questions, some of you answered this 20 catalysts of bhakti. Okay, this is in the chapter 13, text 8 to 12. Okay, if you open your chapter 13, text 8, you will find 20 qualities. it's a catalyst of bhakti. This is the process, because when I asked question earlier, you were giving this some points, right? The unalloyed devotional service, accepting a spiritual master. This is the process. So once we know the difference between body and soul, we will take up the process of liberation, which consists of these 20 catalysts of bhakti, importantly unalloyed devotional service and accepting a spiritual master. Then we learn how the living entity's body is made. It is made of 24 elements. Okay, it has both gross and subtle elements. Okay, and above this we have the soul and super soul, the knower and the other knower of this body and knower of all bodies. Okay, so what is the knowledge? The combination of the soul, the relationship between the soul, the material nature, and the super soul. This is the knowledge. So why are we learning this? It is meant for contemplation and for realization. Okay, so when we understand this, we take up this process, it will give us the liberation. This is the process of liberation. This is the Jnana Yoga way of understanding the relationship between us and the super soul. Okay, so how the process works? Hearing in good association, accepting a spiritual master. Okay. So we treat that as the recap. Okay. Can we have somebody to read this last slide?
I read, Mataji.
Okay.
The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other birth as supreme birth, is it? Birth as the,
Other birth.
as the supreme
Birth. Actually, it's birth.
birth, the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
birth as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender onto Krishna for instruction. The subordinate birth immediately.
Oh, I think it's birth, Mataji. Yeah, it is birth.
But because of the tree,
Okay, I will explain this. Okay, you
Okay, sorry.
continue, Mataji.
the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So this is like two birds on a tree. Okay, there's one bird is doing the actions like us. We are going on with the daily lives and everything. And then there is another bird always watching what this bird is doing. So the other bird is the permitter, is the overseer. So the bird that is going on the daily activity is us. We are the soul, like Arjuna. And then the other bird is the Supreme Lord. He's watching us what we are doing. Okay, he is the permitter and overseer. So that is the explanation here. It's relating to that bird. So the other bird, the moment we turn and look at the other bird and accept that bird as a spiritual master, then we, that bird, become free from all lamentation. So this is the story of the two birds. Okay, the other one is the parrot flying into a green tree, thinking that I also green, the tree also green, so I become tree. So that one is the different oneness and difference between the soul and the super soul. Okay, so this is important, yeah. All right, so the purpose of this 13th chapter is we need to understand the distinction between body, the owner of the body, and the super soul. Okay, we need to understand this chapter 13 verse 8 through 12, 20 catalysts. This one we have to remember. Out of the 22 is very important, having unalloyed devotion and accepting a guru. Okay, then one can go on to the supreme destination. Okay, so and then how the body is consists of 24 elements. So this is the interaction that we have to understand. This is very important. So please try to remember this, go through this again. If you have any question, please ask. And this is the purpose. Why are we learning this? Okay, for our contemplation and realization. We know where we are, okay, and where we should go and what we should do. Okay. All right, that's all. Any questions? Is it hard?
Yeah.
Fine. How do you find this?
quite
Enjoy.
difficult.
It's hard, but is it useful? Is this philosophy useful? This knowledge, is it useful?
Yes.
Yeah, useful. It's as
Yeah.
our body, we can understand ourselves.
Thank you for
Hmm.
simplifying. it,
Sharmila
Mataji.
Mataji?
Yeah, I mean,
Really? I'm so worried.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to simplify and I hope it's simple.
it is actually like when you ask back and all, I think you can remember. So I mean, I do watch the recordings back usually. So just to understand back. So yeah, it's very helpful, Mataji. Thank you so much. I mean, for spending your time and doing this as well.
Thank you, Mataji. Roja Mataji, what do you think?
I find it very
Is it hard? Is this chapter hard?
okay, but we must revise. We must read
Yeah.
the notes, and then the knowledge is very good actually. That we realize the actual thing,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I find it very, very useful for us.
Yeah, actually, it's very important, Mataji. You know why?
Who are
Yeah,
you?
a lot of people, they
Because
come
we
taking up.
are, you know who I am.
Yeah, many people, I mean, we can stop at chapter 2. Okay, who am I? I'm so. But if we there, when we go along the spiritual journey, right? And there is an obstacle, it's very easy for us to give up because we don't know how we are entangled in this material nature and how it's forcing us to do the things that we don't want to do. All right. So this knowledge is very important. This philosophical conviction is very important, and it will carry us in a very long journey. It will, otherwise, we will stop halfway. We will give up with the small obstacles, some small challenges, or why there's so much of challenges, and then we try to come out of it. But if you look at it in the long run, it's a gain. It's never a loss. It's a gain. So it will pay off. So that's why this, even though it's like jnana yoga, it's very technical and everything, but it's very important. You will understand why we are here and why we need to get out from this place. Okay, and then we will go into 3 modes. Yeah. Yeah, actually, honestly, frankly, even I found chapter 13 was very difficult, like last year, or very difficult. But when you go through certain things in life, you know why this is happening. So when you look at it from the angle of Bhagavad Gita, you can manage it. You just have to try, practice and determination. Just keep trying. Always fall back to the philosophy, nothing else. No other distress method. This is the way. This is the permanent solution. Okay, other than that, we only have symptomatic relief and temporary solutions. Okay, so when we go to chapter 14, we will see how things are being influenced by 3 modes. So that one also will help us to understand why certain things are happening around us. We can look at it differently. Okay, so I hope it's been a fruitful lesson, 903 already. Okay, thank you so much for coming. Okay, any questions?
Thanks a lot, Mataji. I understand. I'm so enjoying your class now.
Thank you so much, Mataji. All glories to Gurudev. Maharaj ki jai. Okay, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Looking for the quiz.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Good night.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you for the story, Sharmila Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.